All right. Hey guys, thanks for joining me. It's my name is John Heredis. I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys a little bit about marketing some wholesale deals. That's really what I'm going to focus on here during this live cast. I'm not going to get into too much about exactly what wholesaling is or any of the real strategy behind that actual investing technique. But on this website, there are some great resources and some great contributing members that I've previously spoke about wholesaling. So if you are a little bit newer and do want to get some more specific background information on wholesaling and kind of how to go about that and begin your process, dig around on the website, reach out to some contributing members. I know there's lots of people who would be happy to help. So, without much more of an introduction, I'll tell you guys a little bit more about kind of how I want to schedule this live cast here tonight. Start out talking about why wholesaling your wholesale or why marketing your wholesaling deal is so important. I'm going to spend a lot of my time kind of covering these specifics on what to include in your deal marketing. And I'm also going to show you guys an example of one of the deals that I recently, one of my recent deals to kind of show you an example. I always learn best from seeing an example or a walkthrough. So I'll tell you guys all the stuff and I'll show it to you. And then I'm going to also talk a little bit about kind of speaking with other buyers about your price and how to get as much money as you want out of your deal. So let's just go ahead and start talking about why marketing your wholesale deal effectively is so important. As wholesalers, we spend a lot of our time tracking down deals, whether that's working the MLS with a real estate agent or we're probably working with multiple real estate agents. Maybe you're working with multiple agents. You're really busy and hustling. That'd be great. Or we're chasing down off-market deals, be it with bandit signs or mailers or just calling on for sale by owner ads we see on Craigslist, or maybe we have a nice bird dog army working for ourselves. But regardless, we're spending a lot of our time chasing down deals. So once we get a deal locked up and we have that mutual acceptance, that's when our real work has to begin. Because that's when we get paid, and everybody wants to get paid once they have the the opportunity to lock down a deal. So that's where I believe really the real work begins once you have a deal locked up, because you could be the best, you could have the best systems in place, churning out offers, have bird dogs bringing you a bunch of leads. But if those leads come to you, those deals come to you, and then the trail gets cold and you're not able to close on them, what was the point, right? What are you, you're just spinning your wheels, wasting a bunch of time, locking up deals to not cash out on them. So when you get a deal, when you get an offer accepted, you can celebrate, woo, right? It worked. But then you got to get right back to work. So don't celebrate. You got to start your hustle. So I'm going to get into now kind of talking about some of these specifics to include in your marketing. Hold on one second here. All right, cool. We're good. So what to include in our marketing? There's a lot of things to include. I'm going to do my best to kind of just key in on maybe the top 5 or 6, and I'll show you guys an example. But I guess maybe the best way to start this is just to say what to avoid. I get emails like this. I'm sure you guys have seen emails like this, even from some experienced wholesalers. I think people kind of overlook the importance of putting together strong marketing. Probably the number one thing I'd say do not do is to send out marketing where it's simply a price and an address. Because what you just did was handed somebody else a 40-minute homework assignment, because then they have to do all the background research. So let's start talking about what is that background research and kind of what stuff should we include in our marketing. One of the most important items is to include what the ARV of the property is. If you're a little newer, again, ARV is the after repair value of the property. So meaning that's what the property will be worth when it's all fixed up and pretty and ready to hit the market for sale to a retail buyer. So we need to include the ARV in our marketing. And we can't just simply pull a number out of the sky and put in our marketing, our emails or our ads, just say, hey, you know what? When this house is all fixed up and ready to go, it's going to sell for $400,000, let's say. We need to back that up with comps. Some of you might have some software out there that helps you run your own comps. If not, you guys can check out Zillow Price Your Home. has a pretty decent way to get some good comps, and also a very accurate way to get good comps is working, getting directly from your real estate agent. So you'll have to find out what makes the most sense for you to get those comps. But we want to get comps, and we want to make sure we're getting good, accurate comps. So let's talk about a little bit about what kind of things make a comp good. Sometimes in my comp report, they'll try to sneak in maybe an active listing. An active listing is not a good comp. What an active listing is showing you is what might be your competition, but if the listing is active, that's not really, it hasn't sold. So that's currently going rate for a type of home, right? So first of all, do not include active listings, and don't let your real estate agent get away with sending you active listings as a good comp. Also, there's some things, the whole idea of running comps is we're trying to find out what similar homes in similar neighborhoods nearby have recently sold for, right? So you got to pay attention to things as well as like size of the house. You probably, you want to make sure you're in a similar size home. You wouldn't compare a 1,200 square foot home to say a 2,500 square foot home. It's just different class of home there, right? Same thing goes with bedrooms and bathrooms. You want to have similar bedrooms and bathrooms. Ideally, say you have a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. Ideally, you would be able to only compare it to other 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. But I know sometimes that's not possible, and you don't, that's not super important. You compare a 3-bedroom, 1-bath to a 4-bedroom, 1-bath, or something like that. But if you had a 3-1, you would compare it to a 5-3, right? It's just, again, a different class of home there. We want to keep that similar. So bedrooms and bathrooms, keep those as close as possible. Square footage, keep that close as well. The sold date is going to be important. Sometimes I had an agent try to send me a comp from a house that sold in the neighborhood maybe 3 or 4 years ago. What the market was doing, what houses were selling for 3 or 4 years ago is not going to be too relevant to what a house is selling for this month or next month, right? So not only does a house have to be a similar size, and it has to be a sold, but it must be a recent sold. And all these things I'm talking about, these are things you're going to want to call out in your marketing. When I show you my example here in a little bit, hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense with how to structure that and get all that info, in a good format. So what else we got? We got a recent sold that's nearby, similar size. You're going to want to tell them what the house sold for. Ray, I go a little bit more in depth on that. I tell them what it sold for, when it sold, and how much that was, price per square foot. Because when I'm determining my ARV, I'll usually base that off of the price per square foot of what a home sold for. And I know a lot of other people do that as well. So I save them that one step of doing a little bit of math and just put that in there for them. And also another important one is you want to make sure that these recently sold comparable homes are nearby, right? Because we know going through neighborhoods, 1 mile away, 2 miles away could be in a totally different class of neighborhood. It could be way nicer, it could be a lot less nice. So to make our comps even more accurate, I usually try to stay within a half mile of my subject house. That's not always going to be possible. Maybe you're in a more rural market and your nearest neighbor could be a half mile away. If that's the case, you have to go out a little bit further. Maybe you're in a very densely populated market. Maybe a half mile is going to be too much. That's one of those things you'll kind of have to play around with your market to, find out how to run your most accurate comps. Let me check my list here. I think I got all those. So in our comps, we want to include, bedrooms of the house, the bathrooms, the square footage, the date it's sold, what it's sold for, and how much that is per square foot in the sold. And hopefully I'll show you guys my example of some marketing here in a moment. And hopefully, if you can see that, that might help make things stick a little bit. Cool. So first thing we've covered to include in our marketing is to include good comps. And we're using these comps to justify the ARV that we're telling our buyer, right? So we're not just randomly pulling a number out and saying, when you fix this house up, it's going to be worth $400,000. We're saying we're going to tell them that, but we're going to include comps that support our claim there, so they can have some faith and and be like, oh, okay, great. I could sell it for that because look, he's got, 5 examples of similar homes that have sold for that price. Um, yeah, and number of comps, I always try to get at least 3. The more the better, but get at least 3 in there. What else we want to include in our marketing? The rehab analysis, that's going to be a big factor for the buyer, right? Because they're the people that are actually going to have to up and make it ready to go. So we're going to be telling them exactly what work needs to be done to the home and how much that work is going to cost. So something that might look like saying, you might put a little blurb in there that says, estimated rehab between 40 and 45,000. And then in addition to that, and telling not more than just telling them how much the work's going to cost, you're probably going to want to tell them what work needs to be done, right? So I'll show you my example in a moment, but let's say something like rehab 40 to 45,000, and then another little next line down, I'll say rehab includes things, interior paint, and I'll associate a dollar amount with each item. So it'll be like interior paint, maybe $3,000, exterior paint 5,000, new carpet 3,000, update the kitchen 10,000, whatever it might be, right? All those numbers will vary from house to house. But I like to include, I'm not going to include small items like light switches and towel bars and things like that, but all the major, things, flooring, lighting, interior doors, roofs, anything that's really going to be expensive, maybe say more, I'll definitely try to include in a line item. This is also helpful because say when you're marketing your deal, some of the feedback I've gotten from buyers in the past, they might say they think my rehab numbers are off, or they think, maybe they're too high or they're too low. And then what's really, really helpful is that when you do kind of have that itemized list with a dollar amount associated with each item needs to be done in your rehab, you can just call them out, say, oh, you think my numbers are up? Okay, totally respect that. But what part of my rehab doesn't seem good to you? They say, I don't know, your interior paint seems too low. Well, I put $3,000 down for interior paint. I'm giving myself, that's almost $3 a square foot. The paint the inside of the house. If you have an expensive painter, I got a guy who will do it for that price. Maybe you can fix the problem for them. Maybe they're not aware that maybe they're overpaying for labor or something like that, and you can help them out. So we want to include a rehab estimate, exactly what is included in that rehab estimate and how much those items cost. So maybe you're wondering, how do I know how much all of that costs? Those are good questions. One of the quick ways you guys can do, every market prices are going to be different. So you guys can actually, what I've done in the past is I've actually visited the local Lowe's home improvement store. The cool thing about Lowe's is that they actually have labor stickers in addition to the price of the actual material. So for example, let's say you're looking at toilets, you're trying to get a bathroom estimate. You could see, you buy a toilet, let's say $150, and then Lowe's will have next to it somewhere on that shelf, let's say, buy the toilet for $150, and then we'll install it for $129, right? So what that allows you to do is get a price for the material, and also for the labor, because when you're fixing up the house, you got to pay for materials and labor. So we're going to want to get some info on that in our marketing. So in addition to the comps, in addition to the rehab, another thing that I would recommend including in your marketing is a little blurb, maybe just 2 to 5 sentences max, just kind of about the surrounding community. So this is kind of your opportunity to discuss things that might not show up in the numbers. You can kind of call out maybe school districts, or does it have easy access to the freeway? Is it by good parks? Earlier this year, I started investing in the Chicago area. And so one of my ads, I remember I put in, well, a little background, I guess, real quick. So if you're a baseball fan, you probably know the Chicago Cubs. Pretty sure they have the best record in baseball right now. So I'm guessing in Chicago, that's probably a huge story because the Cubs are kind of one of those very popular storied franchises. So in my ad, I put the address in on Google Maps and got directions to Wrigley Field. And I put something, I think it was something like 37 minutes away from Wrigley Field, right? So my marketing, I called out, less than 40 minutes from Wrigley Field. Just anything that might be cool about the house. So like I said, parks, shopping, close to the freeway, talk about the commute downtown, neighborhood's really quiet, call out the schools, things like that. Just anything that, might not show up in the numbers that would, help somebody think, yeah, this seems like a really good house in a good area. Cool. In addition to that, I like to also do a little breakdown of the numbers. So I'll call out exactly how much profit I'm forecasting in this deal. I'll go into a little bit more detail on that when I'm showing you the example. But I'm just kind of calling out, let's say the deal has 12% profit. And I'm going to call out that that's however many dollars, right? So I'll say 12% profit or $42,000 or whatever it might be, because that's ultimately why our buyer is buying the deal, is for that profit, right? So I want to let them know, real easy what it would be. So in addition to that, all those items, we haven't even started talking about pictures or including video yet. So let's do that. You're going to want to put pictures in your marketing. The better. You want to take pictures of all the good things about the property. So, if there's a large master suite or a good closet or, a nice wood burning fireplace or great patio, you want to include those. But what might be even more important, all that aren't so great about the property, especially any really expensive item that might need to be taken care of in a rehab. Right. So if the roof is kind of looking questionable, try to get a shot of the roof. If, and maybe if there's leaks inside, take some pictures of those leaks, the watermarks in the ceiling from the bad roof. Take a picture of the electric panel. Hopefully it's not a fuse box and it's an actual electric panel, right? But you want to call things like that out. You're definitely going to want to get a couple pictures of the kitchens and bathrooms, right? Those sell houses. So it's going to be really important for our end buyer to know with the current condition of the home and those expensive rooms, so they can know, how much money, how big of a project is going to be in those crucial areas. In addition to getting all those photos, I would say, as far as number of photos, the more the better. But I would say get at least 20 or 25 pictures in there. So they can really, so your buyers can flip through those and kind of get the full story of the home. It'd be bad if you left out, if you didn't tell them that, oh yeah, by the way, the basement's flooded, or oh, by the way, it looks like there's a foundation issue. That would be better to have too many pictures and have overkill on those items and forget those, right? So in addition to those, this is one tip that I actually picked up from Nate Armstrong, is to include a video tour of the home. I think this is super powerful. And this is not some high production quality video. This is, just a simple cell phone video is totally fine. So here in Seattle, in houses that I get under contract, I'll do these videos myself. Remote markets, this is something you can have a bird dog do for you, an assistant, or even your real estate agent. I've had my real estate agent make a walkthrough video tour. So I'll show you guys. This is my cell phone, and this is the phone. I'll show you guys a video later that was recorded on the very phone. But it's a really simple process. You just, I'll usually start on the outside of the house and, pan, show them the neighborhood, the street we're on a little bit, and say, here we are, 123 Main Street. Check out the awesome neighborhood. Let's walk in the front door. And then you just kind of walk through the house and just talk about what you're seeing. So you walk in the front door. Here we are. Look at this nice size entryway. We got some good hardwood floors in here that need to be refinished. Let's go down this hallway. Let me show you what I see down here. Look in the kitchen, totally outdated cabinets. We need new cabinets and appliances in here, but we got really good space in this kitchen. Once you got new cabinets and counters in here and appliances, it's going to be a huge selling point. Just narrating, walking through, telling people what you would see. I always try to emphasize this point when I'm talking to people about marketing. Last summer, just real quick story. Last summer, I was wholesaling a deal here locally in Seattle. I was working with a new buyer. They saw some of my marketing. They were interested. So we agreed to meet later that night to sign the contract, check. So we met, and I was under the impression that we were meeting because he wanted to buy the deal from me, right? So the impression that we were just needing to talk about the deal, because he told me he wasn't going to buy a house he hadn't walked through himself, which sounds reasonable, but I was kind of pissed because I had told people that the deal was gone earlier in the day because this guy told me he was going to buy it. But long story short, so we're meeting, and we get to that point in the conversation, and I'm kind of getting visibly upset because I feel like he's wasting my time. Then I asked him, I was like, well, have you had a chance to watch my videos? He goes, well, I saw pictures. I don't know, what videos are you talking about? So luckily I had a video kind of doing a tour of the inside of the home. And then I also had a video, I don't always do this, but the outside of the home, I did it on this house specifically because it had a nice large backyard with some fruit trees and had a really nice large, double detached, like triple or 3-car garage actually. So he saw these videos, right? So he felt like he had an opportunity to walk through the inside of the home and walk through the yard and everything. So I was able to successfully close and wholesale that deal, even though my first time buyer had never actually been to the house. He felt like he had an opportunity to walk through the house because I think I had something like 44, 45 photos or something like that. And I had a couple videos. So there really wasn't anything that he was going to find in person that wasn't in those pictures or those videos. So I think the videos are actually very powerful to do to include. So to do that, just with your cell phone, put it on camera mode, put on video camera mode, just narrate the video you're walking through. And then you can just upload that to any sort of site like Dropbox, or personally, if you've seen my previous videos, I'm a huge supporter of Google Drive and everything that's included on there. So I just upload my videos to Google Drive. If you have questions about how to do that, the way I learned, I simply Googled how to upload a video from my phone to Google Drive. And there are numerous videos kind of explaining click by click how to do that. And there's articles about it. So if the technology side of things is not your strong suit, you can still do the videos. Just watch you can still upload video tours of the property. Just check out some YouTube videos on how to do that for some help. So you want to include in there, obviously, contact info. People have to call you or email you so they can buy your house. It's a pretty obvious one, but I wanted to call it out. And then the last point I want to talk about for our marketing is including the purchase price, right? So let's say we got a house under contract. We put an offer in just to keep the numbers easy. For example, say we got an offer accepted for $100,000, and I want to make a $5,000 fee. I'm not going to market the deal for $100,000 and then tell my buyer after they say they want to buy it, oh yeah, so it's $100,000, $5,000 for my fee. What I'm going to do is I'm going to include all expenses in that advertised purchase price. So in that example I was just giving, I'd be marketing that deal for $105,000. So that would be, I'm including the purchase price and my assignment fee in my advertised price. Now, if I was going to have to do a double close or a same day back-to-back close, I would include those prices in my advertised price as well. Whatever you advertise as your price, that should be, out the door, what your buyer is required to pay. Everything's wrapped up into that one price. So let's talk a little bit about that price, and then I'll show you guys an example, and then we can open it up to some questions. So let's say you're marketing the deal. Let's just go forward with that same numbers that we were just talking about, that 100K acquisition cost and then the $5,000 assignment fee. So we're advertising the house for 105. Right now, let's say we're talking to a buyer and they're like, "Ooh, John, yeah, I like this deal, but I see looks like you got a $5,000 assignment fee. I'm not gonna be able to pay that full fee. Tell you what, out the door for 103." Absolutely not. My advertised price is not negotiable, right? Because think about that, especially if it's a new buyer. If they talk you down $1,000 or $2,000 on the first deal you work on them with, they're going to know every single time that you advertise a deal that price is flexible. I don't want to have that reputation of being able to be talked down on my price. Part of that is because I think I offer pretty competitive rates as is, and my deals are good. So I think I deserve what I'm advertising as my assignment fee. The other part is I don't want that. I always want to be able to get my full fee. I don't want them to talk me down. I don't want to, be working against myself. So in situations like people say, oh, here, 105, I'll give you 103. I just let them know, no, price is 105, and that's firm. And I, this is a good deal. Even if I don't have other interested buyers, I'll always say something like, hey, I understand, you're trying to get the best price for yourself, but this price is not negotiable. Other interested buyers looking at this. So, if you change your mind, let me know right away, because this deal's not going to last. It's going to go quick. Even if they're the first person that's called me, I'll always tell them I have other interested buyers to kind of keep them, put a little pressure on them. And then even if I'm kind of dealing with one of those stubborn buyers, if I'm able to assign the deal to somebody else before I hear back from them, I don't always do this, but in the past I have sent follow-up emails to those people that say something just real quick that's like, hey, just wanted to follow up, let you know this deal's gone. Told you it wasn't going to last long. Hopefully next time, you can make your decision quicker. Again, put a little pressure on them so they know next time they see a deal from me that, if they want it, they got to act quick and make up their mind quickly, right? So yeah, I'm always just trying to create that kind of competitive environment when I'm marketing my deals there. Cool. So I just talked a lot at you guys, so hopefully that was good. But like I said earlier, I always learn better from seeing an example. So I'm going to do some screen share right here and show you guys an example of some of the stuff I was just talking about. So hopefully we can get this to work. All right, so pretty sure I'm screen sharing right now. So do I need to click this one? We'll see. All right, so here we go. So this is an ad right here. This is just an ad that I put together for a recent deal. Actually, this is going on right now. So I just want to show you guys some of the stuff we were talking about, right? So you can see this is simply just a Craigslist ad. And then let's kind of just talk about some of the info I have on here, right? So I have my advertised price, the buyer's price full out the door, that's purchase price, and this includes my fee. I got my title, trying to make it sound enticing to look at. Craigslist will limit you to, I think it's 24 pictures, but get a bunch of pictures up here so you can see. I don't want to spend you guys too much clicking through all these pictures, but you guys can see, a bunch of pictures. See, look here, this is one of the, potential issues with this house, right? Is that in one of the bedrooms, the ceiling is falling out. So I have a picture about this for sure, right? Because it's, how big of a surprise would that be if they bought the house and didn't know that the ceiling was falling apart. So let's go down. Let's see what else we got. We got the pictures there. So you can see I got my name. I got some contact info. Let's go down. So we got the address of the property, the title again, the acquisition cost for them, some information about the house here. And then here we go. So this is kind of the stuff that I just spent the past 20 minutes or so talking about. So let's just go through and look at the example, right? So I have my ARV here. I'm telling them this house should sell for over 400. Here's my rehab, 40 to 45,000. I always like to include a range in my rehab. My thinking behind that is, if they see that range 40 to 45, I'm hoping my buyers are going to be like, oh, well, I got really good crews. I'm sure I could do it cheap. And then here's what I was talking about. So the rehab includes, right? So I have interior paint 3,000, exterior paint 4,500, flooring, right? So I'm telling them what all the major items are going to be needed in this rehab. And I'm showing them exactly how much money I'm allotting for each, and that's how I came up with my range. Together, I remember this comes in right at 43,000, so it's right in my range of 40 to 45. Even throwing in, there's always something you forget in a rehab or you overlook, right? So I'm even throwing in $5,000 for just random stuff I forgot. So I feel like these are pretty generous numbers here. Here's my little numbers breakdown. I told them the ARV was over 400. So here I'm saying, what if you put it up at 410? I'm not going to go over specifics on this formula, but this is, an ARV with a $40,000 rehab, so it's showing that's a 12% profit or about $48,000 of profit in this deal. So hopefully they'll see this and say, oh, sweet. And then, a little blurb about the house, talking about it, what it needs. And then here's what I spent a lot of time talking about earlier. So let's look at this, the comparables, right? So I think having good comparables is super important. Sometimes I get marketing from people and it's like they don't include anything, right? So all these houses, I have the date it's sold, what it's sold for, how much that is, price per square foot. Here's the bedroom, the bath, the square footage of the home. Oh man, I've seen a mistake I made. Sorry about that. Add a little blurb here that says all these recently sold properties are within a half mile of my house. How, like we were talking about earlier, that's important. So You can see I have all that information. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comps justifying my ARV. Uh, so, and then here's this blurb down here. It's talking about how it's a really quiet neighborhood. It's near parks, country clubs. It's near some good schools. And then I'm calling out the video. Here are links to a couple of the videos. And also what I'm going to do, I don't think I have the tab open. So hold on one sec, guys. Let me show you one of these videos. Source, just so we don't have any buffering issues. Cool. So I guess I can share this folder right here. These are all the pictures I have of the house. So to make my point, you guys can see, I think there's like almost 50 pictures here. So I got a lot of photos of the house. So if people have more questions, I can send them more photos. But let's take a quick look at this video. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear me narrating on the video. So maybe I can narrate.
All right, here we are. All right, here we are, about to walk into.
Oh man.
67 car.
Maybe I'll give it a second to get ahead and then we can watch it. But you can see this video is just starting out. I'm outside of the house and I'm just kind of showing the neighborhood just to show this was actually a really nice neighborhood. And you can see here, we got like a nice BMW SUV parked next door. I think that's what that is. So I'm just kind of trying to show off how nice this neighborhood is. So hopefully the video has loaded enough. Let's see if we can watch this.
You can see it's in a nice neighborhood, nice corner lot here. All right, headed to the front door. Exterior paint might be a good idea just to paint the house. Okay. Room, we got some laminate flooring here. Flooring continues. The full bath in the hall here. It's full tile floor. Fixture.
Freaking Comcast.
Bedrooms. Some new interior doors in the home. Here.
You're really excited in your videos. I don't do a good job of sounding excited. You guys can do better.
Bedroom. Not bad. Also another bedroom. This room is very large. So we've got a couple windows here. The issue with this room, this is where the leak was.
So I had pictures of it in my video.
It just keeps going. To the back, got our slider over there. I'll show you that room in a minute. Closet. A good sized bedroom here though, but definitely needs some work. Door into the kitchen. So we got a nice dining area here. Updated light fixture. Tile counters. It's a decent sized kitchen here. A lot of counter space. These are doors in here. Got like a fake brick on. Wood burning fireplace. Good sized room. And here's that rear slider. Patio. Good spot to barbecue. Let's go.
We're doing so well.
So you got a nice double garage. Basement in the next video. Which is down here from the garage, but let's go take a look at the upstairs.
I did a second separate video for the basement.
So here's the master suite.
Oh, no.
You can see, kind of pan the whole room here. A nice large walk-in closet over here. Right. So we have a couple more closets. Our bath. So toilet, clean this up a little bit. Got a nice large window. Got a double vanity here. Closet. Back there. The other room upstairs. We have another room. Nice big windows. But no closet in this room. All right.
Cool.
So we go back downstairs. I'll do the basement in the next video.
Yeah, so you guys get the idea. It's nothing super fancy, but it just kind of gives them an idea, gives them a feel for walking through the house. I won't show the video. I don't think we need to show the other video right here. This is for the basement. It's very similar style. It's just me walking through the basement, calling out what I see down there, just kind of narrating. But you can see it's not super high production quality. You don't need to go out and buy, some fancy GoPro camera or anything like that. Really, I have just a smartphone with a video camera on it, and that's what I use, and that's all that's really needed. Cool. So I just wanted to show real quick too. We took a look at the example ad I had up here. I just wanted to show a little bit of how I get some of that information. So let me copy the address real quick. Community blurb. One thing I'll do is I'll usually go to Trulia. One thing I like about Trulia is that it has this crime heat map. If you scroll down a little bit, so you can see I'm in a very low crime area, so that might be something you could call out. Your marketing. Also, what's cool too is right here they show you the schools, right? So this house is really near nice schools. So I think I did call that out in some of my marketing in that little description. Also, what I'll do is I will simply just Google the address. Pull it up on maps. So you can see this house is in Chicago. I don't live in Chicago, so I obviously won't know it as well as I do here in Seattle. So to get an idea where I am, I simply just look it up on Google Maps, excuse me, and I'll just kind of look at what's close to it, right? Like here's that elementary school. There's a bunch of parks. You can kind of scroll around, or you can even just zoom out a little bit, so you can see, we got like some shopping stuff up here, close access to the freeway. Here's Wendy's. But you can just kind of look around and see what you're near, and then call out like here's a country club, here's another country club. So you can kind of call out what you're by to add any sort of positives. Yeah, cool. I think here, let me come back on screen, see if I can figure that out real quick. All right, cool. So I think I'm back. So just to recap real quick, we talked about marketing our deal. Talked about why that's so important because this marketing will help you get paid. So I've seen even from very experienced investors, they don't include some of this important information. Basically and we want to include as much information as any, include all the information to answer any question a buyer might have about, well, should I buy this or not? So ideally, you're going to have all your marketing. It's going to be well laid out. And so after they read everything, they'll spend, the 3 to 5 minutes reading all your marketing, all the stuff you included in there. And then their only question should be, you know, when can you meet? When can I buy this from you? Right? You should have everything else they need to know in that marketing. So we talked about a lot of the specifics, including our comps, what's important for comps, our rehab analysis, our numbers, our pictures, our videos, a little blurb about the community, the asking price, and all that stuff. So hopefully, I really hope that some of this helps you guys get some more deals done this summer. Close on more of your deals, keep your agents happy, keep yourself happy. Morning. So I'm going to go ahead. That's what I got for you guys tonight. Thanks for watching this all the way through. Happy to open this up to some questions. Let me go ahead and open up the chat real quick. Give me 1 second here. Comcast Xfinity customer. I'm getting computer issues. If I disconnect, for some reason my computer won't take me to the chat. One second, guys. I'm sorry. Man, computer issues happen at the worst time. Sorry about this. No, that's not it. All right, guys, I'm really sorry. My computer will not load the website for some reason. So I guess the best thing I can do is if you do have questions. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I was trying to get into the chat. For some reason, my internet won't do that for me. If you guys do have specific questions, I'm happy to stick around. Maybe you could send me a direct message on the website. You can find me on there. Again, my name is John Herbatus. So if you send me a direct message, I'm happy to stick around for the next little bit or so and reply to some specific questions. So what I'll do is I'm going to log off here, and I'm going to keep trying to get in the chat too. So hold on, if you have a question, I'm going to try to maybe switch accounts here or something and join the live chat. But guys, thanks for hanging out. I had a lot of fun doing this. Hopefully you learned a couple things, and I'm going to try to jump in the chat. So hopefully I'll be chatting with you soon.